There are many ways to make money in a bear market. In this particular video, I'm going to focus in on just one. As we get into it, if you find it useful and informative, hit the like button, do appreciate that. And if you are looking for more information about how to make money during a bear market, then join us down in our Discord server. Link is in the description below. Okay, let's make a start. Let's talk about how to make money in a bear market. So we're going to be talking about one of the easiest ways to actually make money in a bear market, and that is through trading, but trading in the correct way. Okay, our goals during a bear market is accumulation, essentially, and there's many different ways to kind of go ahead and do this. I'm going to focus in on just one trading aspect that allows you to accumulate during a bear market as the price is actually going down. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to actually sign up to a couple of exchanges. So what we're going to do is we're going to either jump down into the description below, click on some links there if you haven't got a Bitget account, which is what we're going to use in this example. There's also a Bybit link down there if that's what you prefer. I'll probably do a whole separate tutorial on how to use Bybit, though. It's slightly different than Bitget. And we'll also need TradingView also in the description below. You can get these for free. So it's not anything to want to worry about there. There's no like subscription costs unless, of course, you want to. With TradingView, there can be a tiered system where you can basically upgrade to get additional indicators and things like that on your charts. It's not necessary, but it is there if you want to. Okay, so in what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to jump down into our Discord server, okay, as this is where we actually do have the links to Bitget, okay, but they're also in the description of this video, so you don't have to come to the Discord server, but, you know, I do recommend that you join us down in Discord. We actually support the community a lot more in Discord than we can on here on YouTube or Twitch, for example. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come down and we're going to find this link. You can see here there's various different offers that are available. We're actually running a competition at this point in time with our community via Bitget, but you can kind of take advantage of some of the offers that are available to us. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this link here, and this is going to then take us over into the website, okay, and we're going to do a bit of a sign up process. Now I'm going to blur out all the details on the right hand side here, and I'm just going to create a whole new account just so you guys know how to kind of go through the process here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in an email address just up here, okay, we're going to do that. I'm just going to type one in, and then we'll move on and add a password and all that usual kind of good stuff, okay. We have to go through the verification process, of course. Can take a little bit of time to kind of go through, so we'll just go ahead and put this in. But once you are kind of all set up and ready to go, then it's actually really straightforward. Okay, so we're going to leave the referral code in there. It's there from when I clicked. Apparently I need a special character, so I obviously need to make sure that I have a special character added to the ends of my passwords here, so that will then work like so. We'll agree to the terms of use, but I do recommend that you guys read those. I've already read them, so I'm just going to keep this ticked, and I'm going to click on the sign up button. Okay, I'm going to click to verify, and this is then going to come up with these kind of things here, and what I have to do is I have to select them in the right order. So I'm going to select this one, this one, this one, and click OK. Okay, that will then verify, and we should be good. Okay, that's going through the sign up process. Now, of course, what it's going to go and do is basically send me an email verification, so I'll be back in a second. Okay, so with the verification sorted, we can now go into here and we get welcome to Bitget, and basically we can get up to $4,163 in rewards by completing various different tasks on Bitget. So this isn't really what I'm going to be talking about in this particular video, but yeah, there's bonuses there up for grabs, so we'll check that out and we'll work through what we can do in order to actually maximize our returns. Okay, so as I said, in a bear market, there's many different ways to accumulate, and in this particular example right here, we can see 4,163 just by completing tasks with Bitget. Now that's going to vary depending on what you deposit and all that kind of stuff. So we won't really heavily focus on that because that is going to be subjective to, you know, how much you're going to deposit in and trade with and all that kind of stuff. Okay, but I've got I own crypto, so I don't need to go ahead and buy any crypto. I can just deposit it directly in here. Okay, but if you wanted to buy some, you can go ahead and just do a fiat buy some crypto, so you can start trading with that. Or alternatively, if you already own crypto like I do, you can just go ahead and deposit it. That's what I'm going to focus in on in this particular video. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to deposit. I'm not going to deposit Bitcoin. I'm going to deposit some stable coin. I'm going to use USDT. Okay, and here we get to choose the network. Okay, now this is really important because there's many different networks that you can deposit USDT on. You obviously don't want to be doing an ERC20 where it's more expensive in fees. Essentially, I prefer BEP20 or Tron's TRC20, but you know, there's many different kinds on here. You can go through them, Polygons, Matic. It all depends on where you're sat with your USDT. Okay, for the most part, Binance Smart Chain is a very, very common one. So I would use BEP20. And then this gives us an address down here for depositing. I'll blur this out for the video for the obvious reasons. But basically, yeah, this is going to be the address that I can go ahead and copy. Now, I've got a QR code. I can take that QR code if I want to, or I can just go ahead and click on this little copy button. And by clicking the copy, it will then grab this address. Now, down at the bottom here, we can decide where we're going to deposit it. We can deposit straight into our spot account, or alternatively, we can go into the USDT M account or the margin account. This is what we're focusing in on today, okay? We can do spot trading if we want, okay? That's fantastic. You can do that, but that wouldn't make this any different than using something like Binance, for example, KuCoin, Gate.io, or any other kind of exchange. What we're focusing in on, though, is the USDT margin account because we get to use leverage here. Now, leverage is high risk. It's not something that I would strongly recommend that a newbie does at all. Okay, this is something that I'm going to walk you through how I approach this. Okay, minimizing the risks to kind of your capital. Okay, but when you use leverage, and as you probably get from a lot of the other videos that I do on the channel, leverage is bad. Okay, but we are going to be using leverage in this video, and I'm going to show you how I approach it. Okay, yes, I use leverage on some really, really small stuff, but I wouldn't use leverage like most of the time. Okay, I'm more gravitating towards spot personally, okay? But we can take advantage of a bear market when the market is moving down using the margin account, okay? So that's kind of what we're focusing in on this video, how to make money using Bitget with leverage, okay? But really, really, really small leverage, okay? And I cannot stress that enough, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to select the USDT margin account. This is the address that we're going to send it to. So we're going to click on copy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and deposit some funds into that account. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, and down here at the bottom, you can see that we've managed to deposit 100 USDT. Okay, and that's gone straight into our margin account. So we're all good to go here with the next step. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do is actually move over into the futures area. And that's actually up here at the top menu. Okay, we're going to be looking for the USDT M futures. Okay, there's obviously USDC M futures as well. So if you have USDC that you put in rather than USDT, that's the option that you want. Then there's Coin M futures and a future grid trading bots and the demo trading. Okay, so for this video, because we've deposited USDT and we put it into our margin futures account, that's what we're going to be looking for. If you're going to be looking at doing any kind of trialing, you can do that with the demo trading at the bottom. Okay, so we're going to come over here, and when you hover above this option, you also see all of your quick pairs down here, and these are popular futures that people are looking at the moment, but we're just going to click straight into this option just here, and this is going to load up a default position. Okay, it's at this point that what we're going to do is we are going to adjust a few things, okay? And because we have several different areas of this screen, which I will explain to you all in a moment, these sometimes are not the easiest places to do your analysis, okay? So we're not going to use the charts that we have inside Bitget here for our analysis. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to use TradingView. There's a link for TradingView down below. It's completely free. Just set up an account with TradingView. Now, you can obviously have paid options if you want loads of indicators and lots of different things on your charts. That's fine, you can go ahead and do that. But realistically speaking, a free account should do for the majority of people. You don't need to have a paid account when it comes to TradingView. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up our TradingView here. Okay. Now, TradingView, as you'll probably see from many of the other videos that we do on the channel, is pretty standard stuff. For the most part, I'm using Elliott Wave theory, right? Price action is essentially king. So we don't need a bunch of indicators on the chart to help us understand what is going on. A couple here and there are very useful, and I will jump into a few of those during this video, but for the most part, we're just going to focus in on the actual price action. It is king. It is really what drives the market, and basically we don't need to focus in on 100 different indicators to help us understand what's going on. There's actually some really simple tells, and we're going to go through some real basic stuff. Now, there's a whole host of different strategies that you can find on the internet. Fill your boots, go and do as much research as possible. Obviously, this video is just educational purposes on how I do things. This might not work for everyone. This is just how I approach it, okay? So inside TradingView here, this is Bitcoin paired up with USDT. And obviously in Bitget here, as soon as we've clicked into it, we have the Bitcoin USDT pair. Okay, now what we're going to do is we need to basically find the correct pair in TradingView for what we want to trade on. Okay, so we're not going to trade on Bitcoin here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and actually come over to this section, and I'm going to find Polygon's Matic. I like trading on Matic at the moment. It's a little bit more predictable, in my opinion, than some of the other altcoins out there. So I'm just going to choose Matic paired up with USDT here, okay, and it will load it up. Now we can see the timelines at the top here. This is the 15-minute chart, okay. I really wouldn't say that anyone should go down lower than this if this is new to you. If you're trying scalping strategies, you need to be high leverage, right? And that's not really what we're looking for here. We're looking for low leverage positions. Okay, and we want larger time frames. Okay, that's not creating a trade every single day. That is creating trades that are in our favor. There's no point in putting a trade in if you're not confident that it's actually going to play out. That's kind of just gambling, essentially. What we're looking for here is high probability scenarios that the price is going to go in the direction that we think it is, and then using a little bit of leverage, not much, just a little bit of leverage to help us earn more during those movements. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to come back to TradingView here, and I have these in two tabs. It's really simple, just to flick between the two of them. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the 15-minute chart, and then I'm going to come over into our top section here where all of our kind of pairs are. Okay, now I've selected crypto. I'm only looking for crypto here. Okay, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to go Matic, and then I'm going to type USDT at the end. Okay, and then you get all the different exchanges down the right-hand side. We can go ahead and change this if we want to, but for the most part, it's easier just to go scroll down here and eyeball. And what we're looking for is we're looking for Bitget. Okay, we can see it here. It's a BG icon. Now this is the spot. We don't want the spot. We are looking for the contract, the mixed contract. So if we keep scrolling down, we'll find it here, the potential mixed contract. Okay, this is basically Matic USDT.P. This is the one that we want. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to click that, and then this loads up our 15-minute Bitget contract on TradingView. Okay, so if we come over here, we can see the exact same data, but this time it's actually easier to manage. Okay, so inside TradingView, we have a bigger screen. We can see the analysis. We can zoom out. We can zoom in very, very quickly, very easily. We have access to all the tools, and we can save all this analysis down to our account so we don't ever lose any of it. Sometimes when we're on these exchanges where they have their TradingView, sometimes these get reset. Sometimes they don't give you access to specific indicators that you want. Sometimes you don't have the right tools. So it's just easier not to really use these ones and actually to set up an account with TradingView and use that. Like I said, link in the description below. It's completely free. Okay, now we've got our contracts pulled up here. So the 15-minute Bitget Matic USDT pair, and we've got that also on here. We can now start talking about what else is going on in this screen. Okay, so now we are ready to actually think about entering a trade. So the first thing that we want to do is actually kind of take a look at these various different things that we have going on down here. Okay, we've got open and close. We want to open an order, so that's fine. For the most part, this is the only thing that you're really going to look at. And then, of course, we've got three options under here: limit, market, and trailing stop. Okay. I often actually do use market if things are looking like you have to get into a move right away. And limit is if you see a price from your analysis that you're working towards, you can kind of go ahead and use a limit order to preempt the moves and then take action from there. Okay, so in this example, we are going to go ahead and use a limit order. And then we're going to kind of walk through all the various different steps. Okay, so limit order. Down here we have the price of what we're looking for in terms of our limit order and the price that we want to pay. Okay, down here is our amount of our portfolio that we actually want to risk. Okay, so for the most part, anyone who's new to the space or has good risk management perspectives, we're going to want no more than 10% of our portfolio. Okay, now our portfolio is $100. Okay, we can see that in our margin account is $100. We can see it also down here. We don't want any more than 10% of that to be risked. Okay, this is about making sure we have good risk reward balances. Now, there are some degens out there that are going to go ahead and just go 100% everything. We're going to go 150x, right? That is never going to end well. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to limit ourselves and put ourselves in some good kind of practices up front, right? We don't want to get into bad habits. So we're going to risk 10% of our portfolio of $100. We're going to use 5x and it's isolated, which means it's isolated only to the 10% that we're willing to put in, okay? Then obviously we have our price that we're going to do. There's a little tick box down here. This is for take profit and stop losses. We'll talk about that in a second. And then you can go long and you can go short. Those are the two options that we have. Okay, so our cost is $10. We've kind of put that in there already. We can see that the cost is $10. We're using a 5x leverage, so it's basically 5 times the $10 that we're going to be using. Okay, so let's come back down to Matic. Here's our analysis. We can kind of see that we are moving up, right? We have the target range of about 78.66 cents. Now, there's many different ways for you to analyze the market. Okay, you can use Elliott-Wave theory if you know it. You could use a whole bunch of indicators if you want. You could use things like supply and demand zones, also known as support and resistance. These are actually probably the most powerful in the space and very, very easy to actually spot. So let me just run you through a few things here, right? So straight off the bat, I've kind of mapped out a few different things, right? Let's go ahead and draw on some basic areas of resistance, okay? So right in here, we can see that there's an interesting kind of zone. It comes all the way through here, and it also comes all the way down into this low range here. I'm just going to pull this down just into kind of where we close these positions, okay? So if I actually pull this across to the left, you can start to see how many times we've come down and visited this particular area. A couple of times we've gone down a little bit lower and all of that. Sometimes we come in here and we kind of come back out again. We rest on it and so forth. This is basically a support line. This is also known as something that is referred to as a demand zone. Okay, so we can call it demand, you can call it support, you can call it whatever you kind of want under those kind of terminologies. Basically, if you've identified an area of support like this, there's a high probability the price bounces, right? So when we start thinking about this bounce here and the fact that we moved up quite rapidly, we revisit down this low point, this is a good place to maybe think about going long, right? And basically in doing so, you can use leverage to multiply your gains in these kind of scenarios. So good understanding of the technical analysis is going to be really important if you really want to be able to maximize your bear market to its fullest, right? Also, the same thing in reverse, okay? So when we start thinking about where the resistance lines are, then this is going to be something that we're going to want to focus in on, right? In here, for example, we can see that this is an area of resistance. We broke on through it, and then we came back below it. We tested the previous low level of support, and then we come back up and we retest this as our resistance line. We've pushed back down right in here. You can see that we were getting rejected. We were pushing through. We've gone through. We come back down. Again, we found a local low down here. Nothing overly special about this point, but there is another resistance line in here. We don't want to draw too many of them. We're only looking for the big ones. And then, of course, we move on back up, and now we're breaking back through. So what we're looking for is we're looking for a back test on this area, okay? And basically to come to this area of previous resistance. Has this supply zone become a demand zone? And what we're looking for is then to bounce on up into our higher range target. This might sound overly complicated, but there's plenty of tutorials online to learn about the kind of setups of your trading zones. Essentially, what you really, in my opinion, want to focus on is price action trading. As I said, we've got Elliott-Wave theory, which is what I do, but there's many other types of price action trading. Indicators have a bit of a hit and miss movement in the space. They aren't exactly the best in my opinion, and they do lead us to fail a bit more than we would like. So understanding where you might want to take a position is more important than actually trading. Sometimes the best trade is no trade, right? So understanding where we are right now is very important. Now, from my point of view, what's going on here is that we have this wave up, a back test down here to this supplier demand zone, then we're breaking on up and we're looking to come up here. but we can't move up in a simple three-wave structure like this, right? We can't go in straight lines. So instead, what we tend to look for are subwave counts as well. And here is another one. So we kind of end up with confirmation around this zone. So for polygons matic here, this looks like the next most probable area. Of course, there is a little bit of a supply zone just up here as well that we're going to have to push on through. Okay, so we can see these areas as being an area that maybe the supply is going to push the price back down again. Okay, and we'll keep an eye on that. And as we come across here, you can see that this is an area that we kind of have hit a fair few times and have been rejected from as well. And we can pull this all the way back over here, and you can see that this is a big area that we're going to have to try to push our way through. So we know it's a bit of a push. So we might want to lower our expectations maybe down to this low range here. Okay, so if we come back down to our 77.07 and we were to push on up towards 78.17, then, you know, we're actually talking about a reasonable amount of moves to the upside, right? So we come down here, we move this up, it's about 1.4%. Doesn't sound like much until you start multiplying it by 5, which is our leverage. Okay, so small moves like this can be our friends at times. And obviously, if you scale this out to an hourly chart or a daily chart, those moves are potentially bigger. Okay, now in terms of stop losses, we're going to go ahead and think about our long position here. So we're going to look at a long. We're going to want good risk reward. So we're going to put down here and potentially just below this demand zone. I'm going to put it down here, and this is actually reasonably low. Okay. So what we would look for would be a good risk-reward ratio. And we would look for about 1.5, okay? 1.5 would put us at approximately here, okay? So that gives us a bit of a zone and a bit of an idea as to where we might want to try to target for some profit. Okay, that means that we're risking this amount and we want 1.5 times that risk in reward. Okay, if our reward is lower than our risk, it probably isn't worth doing, and essentially just means that we've got bad practices when it comes to risk and reward ratios. So here's a bit of a trade. This is a bit of a setup and a bit of an idea of what we're looking for, right? We can have an idea that the price is moving up under this structure. Okay, we're setting, if you prefer to look at it as higher lows and whatever, that's entirely up to you. That's not really meaning a lot to me, but it might mean a lot to you. And of course, we can see that there's a potential move upwards. Okay, so we have the risk reward ratios put in there. Okay, so that's our risk reward. That means we can come back to our Bitget and we can go ahead and set this trade up. Okay, so our entry is going to be down here at 77.07. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a limit order for 77.07. Okay, we're then going to come on over into our chart again, and we're going to look for the stop loss at 76.26. We'll come back to Bitget. We're going to tick this little box for take profit and stop loss, and our stop loss over here is going to be 0.7626, okay? And then we're going to come over to our chart again, and we're going to look for that take profit range. Take profit is 78.29. So we'll come back to Bitget, and we're going to go in here at 79. I've actually forgot what it was. 78.29, that's why. 78.29, okay? Once we're happy with everything that we've put in, 10% risk at 5x leverage that is isolated. That's our purchase price. This is our take profit. This is our stop loss. We can click the button that says buy long. We'll go ahead and hit that. We'll get this little order confirmation box. This shows us that we're long at 5x on Matic's USDT pair. The open price is 77.07. The current price is 77.68. The amount is 65 Matic. The margin is $10. And the liquidation price is 62.64. However, we put a stop loss in much higher than that, so the risk is actually really minimal. We'll go ahead and click confirm. And there it is. Down here in our open orders, we can see this. If by default, you're probably on position. These are open positions. We aren't there because we haven't got an open position. And over here, we've got following orders. We've got open orders, order history, and so forth. So in the open order area, here you can have all of your details. You can click cancel if you need to. You can see all the status related to it and all the various other things that you need to look at. But for the most part, this is how you would go ahead and create these orders. Now, with that being said, once the price comes down and hits the 77.07, then of course that's going to trigger this as a current order. It will then come up into our position area and we'll see a lot of different data. Okay, this will be things such as the current realized P&L, the unrealized P&L, and various other things as well. Okay, right now the price isn't moving, but with that being said, there's some key things that you're also going to want to do. If this trade comes up here without first ticking off and entering our position, then we must cancel the order. We cannot leave that order running in case the price comes back down, hits this, but actually the structure has changed. The structure is now doing something like this, right? And we're going to come down and it's going to liquidate you. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we keep a close eye on our trade. Okay, we entered the trade over here, for example, or we haven't actually entered it at all. Okay, so it's important that we keep a close eye on this, because what we want to do is we want to make sure that we cancel any open trades or potential trades that do become or do get triggered in the near future if we haven't already hit our target or if structure changes. Okay, so keeping a close eye on this is going to be vitally important once you've actually put a trade in place. This is not something that you just go to sleep on. However, what you can do, of course, is come into your trading view account like this here. We can come into the price action and we can go ahead and do an alert, and you can create an alert for the price action of 𝗲𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘 USDT pair, and then you can get an alert to your phone to say maybe it's a good idea to cancel. You can do whatever you want with your alerts. Again, this is not a trading view educational video, and this is more about how to kind of use Bitget and leverage to maximize a bear market's potential. Okay, so you can do more research on that or join us down in Discord and we can talk about it in more detail there. Okay, all the links are in the description below. Okay, with that being said, you're kind of all set. There isn't much more to it. It's actually reasonably straightforward. The hardest part of all of this is sticking to good risk management. If a trade goes wrong, it's okay to take the L. Okay, a loss today might be a gain tomorrow. If, however, you let a trade run, you don't put a stop loss in, and you don't have good risk management, you are potentially going to liquidate your entire account if the trade goes against you. Sometimes it's better to A, not trade. So if there isn't an opportunity, don't force one. Wait for an opportunity to come to you. 2, always make sure you're using a stop loss with good risk management. A loss is okay because it does mean that you might get a gain at a later stage. And 3, try not to stress out about it. If you're getting stressed out about it, then this probably isn't something that you're going to want to do. This is not something that you should find stressful. This is something that you should be able to use logically to your advantage. This is not something you want to be overly emotional about. So if you're getting stressed out or finding it really frustrating, getting emotional, then that is going to be a personal growth element for yourself. You're going to have to try to curb those emotions and just approach it from a data-led perspective. If you can be emotionless about it, you should be okay. Always make sure you have a stop loss, always use good risk management, and make sure that you are not opening yourself to undue risk. Okay. Other than that, it is incredibly straightforward to use leverage with Bitget. Okay, let's do one more example. This time we will use the market order function to jump straight into the market. So what we're going to do is we're going to cancel off our existing order. We're going to hit the cancel button, and it's going to cancel that out of the system. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to hum it over to our position. Just over here on the left-hand side, it should be blank, and everything else should just be zeroed out. So there's nothing in the system at all. Okay, we're going to come over to the market section over here on the chart. Okay, this basically means you buy at the current price of Matic. Okay, we're going to risk just 10% on the 5x leverage. All that should remain the same. This means we're risking $10 of our portfolio, and we can obviously enter in stop losses and take profits. Now I'm going to untick this box, okay, and I'm going to do this so we can add them later. So if you do accidentally enter a market order without first adding a stop loss, I'm going to show you how to do this separately. Because we're on isolated and we're on 5x, this means that the market isn't likely to liquidate you right away. So you should spot this pretty quickly, and I'm going to go through some sense checks on what you should be looking for. Let's first of all jump back down into trading view. Trading view is vitally important. So let's go ahead and remove all of that there. We do know that we're kind of consolidating around here, okay? So there's a high probability that the market is actually going to reverse down. Now, I do like one particular indicator, and that is going to be our stochastic RSI. That being said, the stochastic RSI is a momentum indicator that shows that we have momentum to the upside. This actually then means that our initial analysis of a move to the upside is highly likely, and that is probably the direction that we want to go in. So we want to go long and we don't want to go short, but do expect a little bit of volatility around this consolidation just here, as we're trying to turn this area of previous resistance into support. Okay, so we're going to have good risk management here. We're going to use this local low as our stop loss. Okay, I'm going to drag that just a little bit lower, and it's going to be 76.99. That's going to be my stop loss. Okay, so let's come back over into Bitget. What we're going to do is we're just going to enter into a long position here, right? We've gone 5x, isolated, 10% risk, buy long. We get the warning messages here, the order, it's a flash order open, market price 77.9, 64 Matic, we're risking basically that, and $9.97 or whatever. So we're going to go ahead and confirm. We are in a long position on Polygon's Matic. Fine. Now, the first thing that we need to do, the most important thing that we need to do, is come over and actually enter a take profit and stop loss area. Okay, so this is going to be really important to us. So we're going to come over here, we're going to enter into a stop loss. There's a couple of ways of doing this. We've got this section here, it tells you all about it. Click I understand, and you enter these in. You can not do the profit if you don't want to, and you can go ahead and tick that if you do as well. If I cancel out of that, that's your first option there. Okay, we can also see lots of different pieces of information here as well. Okay, so we have obviously the position that was opened up, we have the open position, we have the fair price, the margin, all that kind of stuff. You also have this TP and SL down here. You can hit that little icon, and you can also enter in your take profit and stop loss from here as well. Okay, so there's a couple of ways you can do that, and it's all directly from here. You also have your realized P&L, which is currently sat at 0. We have the unrealized P&L, which is slightly positive, the ROE, return on investment and all that kind of stuff, return on earnings, and obviously the margin down at the bottom here. So you get a lot of really important information. For the most part, the only thing that we really want to do, we don't need to adjust the margin unless things are really going against us for whatever reason, but we should have preempted a lot of that. We shouldn't really have to worry too much. What we're going to do is we're going to enter in a stop loss. So we're going to come in here, we're going to click I understand all the warnings. Do make sure that you do understand the warnings, you don't just skip through it like I am. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and actually enter in our levels. So what we're going to do is come over to our chart here. 76.99 is going to be our stop loss, right? So we'll come back to Bitget. Our stop loss is going to be 0.7699. Then, of course, we're going to look for our take profit. We're going to go back to trading view. Our take profit is actually right now. So we'd actually go ahead and actually do that at 78.30. I'm going to leave it at 78.30. So I'm going to come into here, and it's going to be 0.78.30. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and confirm. This will again tell you everything you need to know, and you can go ahead and confirm it. Obviously, it failed to fill because we're technically above that price. Now we're above that price, we have other options. So hypothetically, if you can't go ahead and put your take profit in there because you've already exceeded it, in my particular case here, then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to close the position manually. And we can do that just by clicking the close button. Okay, and we can see here that the close price goes in. Currently, this price is moving up quite a bit, so we might want to adjust that accordingly. So we'd go, 78. Let's go 0.7839, and then click close and confirm. And there we go. And that's closed your position. Okay. So there's lots of different things to do. That was actually a really bad example because of obviously how the market was moving at this particular point in time. But hopefully that gives you enough to understand what's going on. You can see that we made some profit. We moved the price up. And again, if we go back to our charts here, you can see that we're pushing up into this resistance line right now. And this is going to be an interesting point of where we can either turn this into a support line or we can turn this into a resistance line. Now, if I go ahead and just do some further analysis, we can obviously see from trading view here whether or not we sold short, which potentially we did. There's a little bit more in this just here about 78.58 using Elliott wave theory, for example. But you kind of get the idea, right? That's kind of how we are using leverage in this market to kind of scrape out as much as possible. The objective within this is to basically accumulate as much crypto as possible. In that particular example, I'm using USDT to basically build that position so that I can jump back into the market as prices pull back down lower. I can build a really good hodl bag of coins by trading actively across multiple different pairs using Bitget. Now, I cannot stress enough, though, as I have done during this video, that using leverage is high risk. Okay, guys, that is it. It's as simple as that. It might seem overly simple, but it really is when you take a no-nonsense approach to it. When it comes to leverage, I cannot stress enough, though, try small leverage if you're going to try this at all. Okay, do understand that this video is just for educational purposes on how I would go ahead and use Bitget and how I would use TradingView and Bitget together to help identify where the market is going and then use a small amount of leverage to take advantage of the situation. This is how essentially you're able to build pretty good positions with stablecoins to use in the bear market to accumulate fantastic positions. But as I said earlier, there are many different strategies that you can use to build during these bear markets. These bear markets are fantastic opportunities to do exactly that. So take advantage of what you can whilst you can. Guys, I'm going to leave the video there. I will cover more in due course over different kind of strategies and things like that, as well as how to read charts that we do down in Discord so that you can make use of them within the leverage trading scene. As I leave this video, if you found it useful and informative, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Tap the bell, select all the notifications, and you will stay up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord, I do strongly recommend it. There's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7, and you'll learn a lot more about the different things that we get up to here in Cheeky Crypto in the crypto space. Guys, until the next one, have a fantastic day.